Hi. Oh, look. Stinky. Love you, Bob. All right. So, questions. Sari says, Hi, Tabitha. I returned home from college because of the virus. Before going to college, I was still struggling with recovery. While at school, I was doing really well and felt more free from restriction. Now that I'm home again, I've pretty quickly fallen back into restriction. Every member of my family has their own weird eating habits. My team is aware, but my mum, who usually catches on, hasn't noticed anything, which makes me feel like, okay. I'm really alone in trying to stop relapsing, especially when I don't feel accountable. Any thoughts? Thank you. You kind of hit the nail in the head. You don't feel accountable. The problem is that you seem to be under the impression that your mother is responsible for you being accountable, and that's actually not the case. You're responsible for you being accountable. You know full well that you've fallen into restriction. You've even told your team, and you've also written it to me. So you don't have any excuses there. You know full well that you are allowing, oh, mum hasn't noticed this, to stop you doing what you need to do. You're using it as an excuse. Well, that's not okay, is it? How do you expect to recover if you can't take accountability and responsibility for your own recovery? It's kind of the whole point of recovery and recovery from an eating disorder, and the stuff I talk about a lot is that the buck stops with you. It's your recovery. It's not your mum's recovery. And so that's just sort of the harsh truth of recovery. If you can't be responsible and accountable for your own recovery, you won't recover. So you better sort of switch that over, flick that switch, and decide right now, oh shit, I'm a responsible ass adult. At least I should act like one when it comes to my own recovery, and get on with it. Hope that helps. Oh, quite a few questions. So Alison says, hi, I don't care about gaining weight anymore, but why do I still allow myself to binge at night? Most of us binge at night for whatever reason. It seems easier for us to eat a lot of food at night, less inhibition, and it just, feels like more the right thing to do, I guess. So a lot of us binge at night, and not everyone, some people binge in the day as well. Now, you say that I don't care about gaining weight anymore. That's a prefrontal cortex decision that you made. That's this part of the brain. Fear of weight gain lies in this part of the brain, brainstem. And this part of the brain, brainstem, a lot of the time doesn't give a flying fuck about what that part of the brain thinks. So the brainstem area is where fear of weight gain lies, once you've established that, once you have an eating disorder. And so even if you logically make the decision, right, not afraid of weight gain anymore, want to do it, this part of the brain needs to be shown. This part of the brain doesn't care about words. This part of the brain needs to be shown. That's why we have to act as if we want to gain weight, if we really want to rewire fear of weight gain. And so what I'm saying is, though logically you've made the decision, I'm not afraid to weight gain anymore, because you're still acting by restricting during the day as if you are afraid of weight gain, because the action of restriction, you would only restrict if you didn't want to gain weight. So you're still acting as if you're afraid of weight gain. So therefore, as far as your brainstem is concerned, the brainstem only watches actions. The brainstem's like, well, she's still acting as if she's still afraid of weight gain. Therefore, we will continue to be afraid of weight gain. And that's the reason you don't feel like you can eat without restriction during the day. The answer to your problem is to force yourself to eat without restriction during the day, and expect there to be some resistance, because your brain's going to be like, human, we shouldn't do this. That's coming from this part of your brain, not that part of the brain. So don't worry about it feeling illogical. It might well do. Quite a few questions here, guys. All right. Miracle Mabes says, my family will judge me when I eat every 20 minutes because extreme hunger. Help, is it bad to have to eat every 6 minutes? Just don't even worry about it. Just eat. And don't worry about your family either. Families are annoying, and they judge us for all sorts of things, and they tell us about it. So it's just what families do. I'm sure your family judges you for the clothes that you wear, and what your sisters tell you about that, like mine used to. Like, that's what families are saying. You shouldn't be doing that. So don't pay any attention. Livy Taub says, hey, how do I know if I'm relapsing after inpatient? Haven't lost much weight, but the walls are getting stronger again. I would say, I would hazard a guess, that if you are writing on my YouTube channel, how do I know if I'm relapsing? Then that's probably how you know that you're relapsing. You're probably relapsing. So stop relapsing. Do whatever you need to do to stop relapsing. Oh, that's a good timely question. How to restart recovery after a relapse, Laura? It's just the same way that you start recovery. You just get on with it. You can't wait until it feels like you're not going to wake up one day and go like, oh, I open the windows and the sun is shining and today is a beautiful day to recover. I think I'll do it. It just doesn't work like that. You're never going to want to. You're never going to feel like it's the right time. And that's because you're never going to feel like you're not afraid until you've rewired that fear. And so it's exactly the same as how you first start recovery. You drag yourself into it, kicking and screaming. And you don't even expect yourself to really want to do it. You just know that you've got to do it because you don't want to have an eating disorder. But you just got to kind of like grab yourself and haul yourself into it and not worry about the fact that your brain's going, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Your brain's going to do that. Let's just accept that. Let the brain do it. Let the brain whine about it and just do what you know that you need to do. Exactly the same as the first time you started recovering. Apart from this time, you've got a little bit more information, haven't you? Because a little blip will always give you more information about how to avoid that little blip the next time round. So definitely make sure that you take whatever information you've learned from this little blip into this next round of recovery and get on with it. Do it right now. All right. Since when are you recovered? Did you marry when you were recovered or before or during recovery? And how did your husband help you in your journey? So I was kind of like not fully there, but also not fully sick. I sort of gained some weight, but I was in that spot where I kind of wasn't so obviously fucked up, but I was pretty fucked up. But I was less fucked up enough to actually be social and be going out and drinking and eating and all those things. So that's when I met my husband. He didn't help like directly. It's not like I ever said to him, I have an eating disorder and you need to help me do this stuff. I didn't. I was very sort of closed, private about my eating disorder, but he certainly knew that something was going on. And like, I wasn't private about my eating disorder. I was just like, recovery was my thing. It was very much my thing. I was going to do this. And that's just the way I've spoken about that before. And that's just how the way I do some shit. And, but he did help in many, many ways that he didn't even know he was helping in. He always helped in just always encouraging me to eat more food. Always. Wonderful. Like always, always, always. Not like in the really annoying, pushy way, but just always, always. And as I started to gain weight, just loved it, and that actually really helped me. Like he was very excited about me getting boobs and stuff like that. So that I don't know that it's not that I dislike my weight gain. I never did. I never liked being skinny, but I still had an eating disorder that's afraid of weight gain and gives you fucked up thoughts about it. And just actually having somebody that was so like, this is the best thing ever, was really helpful for me. So he helped in that way, but he didn't help in, he didn't have responsibilities in my recovery. And I actually don't think that partners should have responsibilities. It's nobody else's responsibility to get you recovered, but they can be supportive and they can cheerlead. And that's kind of what he did. He cheerleaded, and he's just great. He's really great. I hope he's out there. Let me say, he's really great. Do you have any advice on chewing and spitting, Monique? So this is chewing and spitting is like, this is a really fascinating, I think, example of your brain problem solving this problem that you have because you've got two things going on at once. You've got your body saying, I'm so hungry, give me food, and then you've got your eating disorder saying, we don't need food, nope. And so your very intelligent brain sort of problem solves between those two desires and goes, well, I know a way to do this. Let's eat the food, but not really eat the food, and spit it out. So that you've got that fear of weight gain saying, don't eat the food, don't eat food, don't eat food. And you've got this big desire to just eat everything. And so your problem-solving brain goes, I've got the solution. Let's chew it and spit it out. That way we get to taste it and we don't get the weight gain fear. So it's really smart if you think about it. Binge purge are kind of similar sort of thing. So chewing and spitting is like a toned down version of binge purge. Although toned down is probably not, because it's as big as a problem in its own right, honestly. For those that do it, would probably be like, yep, it's a real problem. And so the reason that your brain gets so attached to chewing and spitting is because it kind of works. You do get to taste the food, and that's pleasurable, and that satisfies a degree, a little bit, not as much as fully eating the food, but it kind of satisfies that desire to eat a little bit. And then you spit it out so you don't get the calories. So that means that the fear of weight gain shit isn't triggered by the actual chewing that you're doing. And so it works if you think about it. And that's why it's so difficult to stop doing, because it works. Now, the reason it works is because you're afraid of weight gain. Because the recovery version of chewing and spitting is chewing and swallowing, isn't it? And your brain's like, but then that equals weight gain, and that's what I don't want. So you can trace everything back to fear of weight gain. The reason you chew and spit is because you're afraid of weight gain. You have to turn that into chewing and swallowing. So the chewing bit, in the same way that with the binge purge stuff, the binge is not the problem. The chewing is not the problem. It's the lack of swallowing that's the problem. And so what you need to do is you need to make yourself a very hard and fast rule. If I put something in my mouth, I chew it and I swallow it. You must make a really strict rule for yourself that come hell or high water, no matter how much your head feels like it's going to explode with fears and anxiety, you are not going to spit the food out. And you've just got to really focus on that. Really focus on that. I am not spitting out. I'm not spitting out. And it'll only take us, it'll just be the first couple of times, really. It'll be really difficult and you really want to spit it out. And if you can get through the first day or so, you'd be surprised at how easy that starts to be after that. So I think that's a really, really good thing to talk about, because it sort of shows how smart our brains are, how a lot of this, what the behaviors that we develop when we have an eating disorder, they're all developed for a reason. They're all our brains trying to solve these problems of I want to eat food and I don't want to gain weight. So all of the behaviors and the weird little rituals and the routines and the shit that we do, it's all the brain trying to satisfy sort of two things that really are almost impossible to satisfy: the desire to eat a load of food and the desire to not gain weight and maintain a suppressed body weight. And so once you can start to see a lot of the behaviors that you do like that, then you'll be able to see where the fear of weight gain is the problem. It's not the desire to eat that's the problem. It's the fear of weight gain that then causes the kind of fucked up weird shit. Chewing in itself is not a weird behavior. Spitting out, chewing and spitting together, that's really weird behavior. So it's always the fear of weight gain that makes us do fucked up shit. And so then once you can trace something back to fear of weight gain, the how to stop doing it is usually pretty simple. You know how to stop doing it. You got to swallow, not spit. And on that, I'm going to say goodbye. Goodbye.